Yeah, we back.
Hey.
What we doing? Yeah, we raising kings. What she doing? Yeah, she raising the king. What they doing? Yeah, they raising kings. Raising kings. Raising kings. What she doing? What he doing? Yeah, they raising kings. What I'm doing? What I'm doing? Yeah, I'm raising the king. Lady Love, what you doing? Yeah, she raising the king. We raising some kings. We raising some kings. Yeah. Raising Kings podcast.
And we back.
Yeah.
Like we never left.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
We back.
You are now tuned in to the Raising Kings podcast.
That's right. Come
This
on,
is
Sassy,
your girl
hit me.
Sassy.
And it's your girl, Lady Love.
Mr.Nobody.
Mr. Hefe Pepe.
Yo.
Wake up.
Yes, y'all. You are now tuned in to another episode of the Raising Kings podcast.
What's good? What's up? Yo.
Yes, I had to catch myself because I realized I was a little down, you know.
Right.
This week has been a very, very, very tragic week for my surroundings, my you know, my family and friends, you know, it's just terrible. You know, I'm gonna dedicate this episode to my Aunt Sandy. She lost her husband in a very, very tragic accident, and you know, it's just terrible. You know, because
Yeah, it is.
you know, and then on top of that, you know, one of my close friends, you know, she lost her son. He was only like 7 years old, and I had a friend that went
Same
into
age as my
surgery.
son?
Yeah,
Devastating.
had a friend that went into surgery, and
7 at 7.
7.
yeah,
Damn.
7 years old, man. And the thing is, my aunt, husband, and my friend's son, they passed away on Father's Day.
On
Father's Day, you know. And then I had a friend that went in for surgery and never made it out, and then also I had another friend that just never woke up the next morning.
Damn.
So you know, it's been a very, 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 very depressing week for me. And you know,
Sorry, Sass.
no, it's okay. You know,
That's
life.
heavy.
I mean, death
That's
is a
heavy.
part of life. You know,
That's heavy.
you're gonna go through it. You know,
That's
whether it's
heavy.
you before you know your loved ones, or you know, you just have to brace yourself for it. But in the way, especially when you're young and it's just such a tragic thing that happens, you know, you can never really prepare yourself for it.
Right, ever.
So what I wanted to go in today was basically, you know, talking about, you know, how would we introduce like death to kids, you know?
Right. What you say?
And Hefe is over here like
He coughing on his hookah. His hookah's giving him
giving him the business.
Giving him
The business.
Stop lying.
the business. Yeah.
But yeah, you know,
What
I mean,
you say, Hefe?
this week, you know, it's just so much been going on, and I haven't been in the right mind frame, and I just don't have time for like selfishness and selflessness, and
Right.
just people not understanding like what I'm going through.
Right.
So I
Friends
decided.
in general, close people.
Yeah,
Gotta have more empathy,
yeah.
man. Gotta
It's
have more
just like
compassion,
I just
man.
took a step back from a lot of people this week because I felt like it was just a lot of selfish shit in the air, and it's like how could you be so selfless
Right.
in the time that I'm going through? Especially I'm the type of person that I would drop everything if I know that
You was going
one of
through
my loved
anything.
ones or one of my close families was going through it. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be there for you 1,000%. So for someone to just shun my little depression right now and my sorrow
For their
selfishness, come on, man.
Right.
Like these people are lucky if they ever really speak to me
Not
again.
cool.
You know?
Not
But that's why I feel like I wanted to go in this direction with you know, how do we
are
talk
we-
to our kids
Right.
about like when people pass, you know? Because my aunt has a young daughter. She's like 5 or 6 years old, and it's like how do you explain that to her that this person is never coming back around? Like you're never gonna see this again. Exactly, you know. And then, you know, I remember, if I could go back, I remember like I was either like 14 or 15. My cousin had to be either 16 or 17 when he lost his mother to cancer. So it was just like, you know, we all went through it because this was somebody that was real close to us. And it's just like, how do you prepare for it? It doesn't matter what age you are.
Right.
you know,
Doesn't matter.
it's just tough. So, you know, that's why I just wanted to kick off. I don't have a title or a top or the name of this show. I know this is
We gonna
episode
figure it out.
21.
Hey,
But
21.
yes,
Dum,
but
dum, 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 dum.
that's what we're gonna talk about right now. Like, how would we, you know, talk to our kids about death
Right.
and letting them know that these people are not coming back, and you're never gonna see these people again.
Right. Well, me and Hefe was battling a couple names. What you say, Hefe?
I forget the couple of names I said.
You were
but-
saying jackass and stuff like that, but I was saying no.
Well,
because
we're not talking. I mean, we were getting into other subjects because we're gonna
Yeah.
touch on a few
Yeah, we're
other
gonna touch-
things.
We
Mhm.
were saying, you know, what
But-
can we title this, because it's, you know, it's so heavy, you
Yeah.
know, and we try to be as uplifting as
Mhm.
possible, and we
Right.
don't want to bore you guys. We want you guys to stay in tune, and we don't
Mhm.
want to be so melancholy, and we don't
Mhm.
want to drag you guys down.
Right.
The weight of the situation is very, very
Mhm.
important
Mhm.
to mention to kids. So I was thinking maybe we can entitle it, like, you know, Death for Kids. She said no.
No.
Okay, fine. And Hefe
Death
said
for kids.
Death for Dummies or something like that, or
Yeah.
I don't know,
Nah, but
like-
when it comes to kids and stuff like that, that's just like a really hard situation because
right, what do you do?
it all depends on the kid. You know, the kid. I mean, when it comes to death, because I remember when I was that age, and it's something you really just don't understand. You don't understand that death is like forever. It's like
Right.
Yeah,
it's
it's
like
forever.
it's something
Right.
that you never really ever gonna be able to see that person,
Right.
touch that person. And depending on your age, I don't really think a kid can really comprehend what that means.
You know, so I think we should name this Death Struck.
Death what?
Death struck.
Yeah, I think we should entitle this episode Death Struck.
Listen,
Re-
let's
this
take
is
our
why.
time because I'm dedicating this episode to my aunt.
Right.
So
Right.
it has to
Let's-
be a
let's-
really good title.
I think
Okay,
we could just go through
let
it.
me-
Let's go through it, and
let me
as
tell
we
you
go
why.
through it, and then we'll find it from there. Let's
Mhm.
talk
tell
about
you
it.
Why? Because I have a great, like, you know, understanding with it. Because it's like Death Struck. Why will we name it Death Struck?
Okay.
We should name it Death Struck because it happens, because, like, just like Sassy said, doesn't matter what age it happens. Like, when do you, like, explain death to your child? Now, your child could be 17
Mhm.
when death strikes.
True.
Mm-hmm.
It's their first actual experience with death.
Right.
Absolutely.
As far as in me, you know, my first actual experience with death, I mean, I've been to quite a few funerals in my time as a young girl or what have you, but I'm not gonna lie, I was not there. I was
Wow.
there and I wasn't there.
Right.
Yeah.
I was there and I wasn't there. I was there
Like,
for the
'cause you,
food.
yeah, you didn't
I was
really
there, everybody
understand.
was sad. And
She
Yeah.
said she was there
And-
for the food.
I was there for the food, and everybody was sad, and we had to dress in black, and everybody was sad. Everybody was sad, and I knew I should be sad because it was somebody who loved me, and everybody kept telling me that this person really did love me and how great this person was. But when I looked at the picture and I looked in the casket, I didn't know who this person was
Mm-hmm.
or why they really loved me as much as they did. I had no clue. I didn't really have that bonding. I wasn't really there yet. I didn't understand them yet. I didn't really create that bond with myself and them yet. Now, had they created a bond with me, maybe perhaps when I was in my mom's womb, or maybe they were there when my mom gave birth to me, or maybe they saw me take my first steps. I don't know. Maybe they saw me accomplish something. I don't know, my first bowling alley trophy tournament or something, or soccer, or I don't know. It could have been a million different things or reasons why this person loved me that was now gone, but had a relationship with me that I didn't have with them.
Mm-hmm.
So no, death did not strike me in that very moment, or those very different moments that I had to go to these funerals, because I recall a couple different funerals when I was younger. You know what I mean? But it wasn't until I was about 15, 16
Mm-hmm.
in high school that I felt death struck, because now I had created this relationship with my soccer coach,
Mm-hmm.
Coach Brock, R.I.P. Love him to death. Awesome guy, Jewish man. He worked as a science teacher or whatever, or health, as a matter of fact. He was a health teacher and his wife was a counselor at the school that I had attended for high school. And he was also a soccer coach. So I joined soccer made a varsity soccer team, and I built a relationship with this man. He sat down multiple times and had conversations with me about my mom, about why I was the way that I was, why sometimes I would be happy and sometimes I would be sad, and what was really going on in my life. And then all of a sudden, we had a game, had a soccer game. He told me to go out on the field right before he passed away. On the field, right in the middle of our game, like right after I had made a kick, and it could have been a goal, but he wouldn't have seen it, even if it was, because he had just had a stroke on the field.
On the field?
On
oh
the
my
field.
God.
Damn.
On the field.
So everybody seen that?
This is what I'm saying. Death struck.
Oh,
Death
man.
struck.
Well, you're
Death
right.
struck.
We got to ride with that
You
one.
know what
That's
I mean?
real.
This is death struck. This is when it happened to me. This is when it happened to me. This is when it resonated with me. This is when I knew who death was. This is when death showed me its face. This is when I understood what death meant. This is when I knew or became to understand what it was. And then all of a sudden, you know, he's dead and everybody's telling us to calm down. And all I hear is 1,000,001 screams. The world goes black. All I know is we're on our knees and we're in a huddle around his body because we don't know what's going on. We're waiting on the ambulance to come. It's a tragic, tragic, tragic experience. And all I know is now we were riding on the bus to this soccer game with my soccer coach, and now we're riding back to the school without my soccer coach because he's dead and he's wheeled off in an ambulance, and we don't know what's going on, but we know that he's dead because he's lying there in our face like breathless. Breathless, lifeless, motionless. Everything's gone.
Well, I agree. The Death Struck episode.
Death
Struck.
That's what it is. Death Struck.
Yep.
Death Struck.
That's real.
So that's
perfect explanation, Lady Love.
This is what I'm saying. That's when it hit me. That's when I understood what death was. And it doesn't matter how many funerals I had been to previously because they didn't mean anything. Not that their lives didn't mean anything. It's just that it was meaningless to me. It didn't happen to me.
Right.
You know how you have just like how you were saying, okay, you want to push all those selfless people away, people who don't understand what you're going through at this time. It's because they're not going through it themselves. You know what I mean? Or maybe they're just so like closed out from what's happening to you that they can only see what happens to them.
To themselves.
And we do have friends
because
out there
they're
like
selfish.
That. Right.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say too. You know, I think that's like this selfishness, man, because you should still have some type of empathy for somebody. Like if I say like I care about you, you know what I'm saying, and I care about you as a friend, and I just care about your feelings and care how you feel and things like that.
Right, exactly.
If you're going through something, I should be able to have a little compassion
and
have
understanding,
empathy to console you and to support you and say, "Yo, man, I'm sorry."
Right, that's it. All you got to do is say, "I'm sorry."
You have to go through this, man. I wish I could. I mean, words may not be able to replace what you're going through, but at least me showing my compassion and my empathy for what you're going through.
To show me that you really rocking with me, like you really concerned about me, like, okay. You know what I mean? So,
but some people just ain't got that empathy. Some people, they just don't have that empathy to really realize that, yo, this is a really serious situation.
Exactly.
And know that, listen, you're really going through something, and they just like pass it over. But I mean, you could never really.
Have you guys seen the meme? It's all over Instagram or what have you, all over social media, basically, and it's really short and quaint, and it's really to the point. It's a picture of a lion. A lion is strong. A lion is, you know, like the mightiest of all. You know, top of the food chain type. You know, on land. I want to say because you know you have. On land, top of the food chain, and then you got in the water, top of the food chain. If you drop that lion in that water, a shark, a whale, anything, baby, hey, that's meat. Exactly. And you're gonna sink, you're gonna swim. You know what I mean? It's either you're gonna sink or swim. But my whole point is, they put that up, and they always underneath it says, "Don't forget to check on that strong friend." You know what I mean?
No,
and
absolutely.
You, in my mind, would be considered a strong friend. So maybe in their mind, this selfless person or whatever sees you as being so strong, they can't really comprehend you being down. They can't really comprehend you having hurt or feeling hurt.
That's true.
Or not being 100% because you always put your best foot forward. You're always 100%.
That's true.
So they don't understand how to react to you being less than.
Right.
You know
that could be right.
maybe that's what it is.
That could be right, but
But don't listen to me because I'm a Cancer. My birthday's coming up, and we always have excuses for everything, for everyone, in every situation. I should have been a lawyer because I could get anybody off.
but I am appreciative to Bay because he has really, really stepped up. Like I wouldn't even think that. No, for real, I wouldn't even think that he would have ever. I wouldn't even.
Babe.
No, for real.
Lifting her up through this week.
Like he's been here.
Man. Show that man some appreciation.
He actually been here.
Hit the button for
he
the
just
man.
been like, yo, I know you trying to brush it off and all that stuff, but I understand what you're going through, and I'm gonna be here for you. And that has been very much appreciative. He hasn't left my side, and he's been here. So, babe, there you go.
Round of applause to all the good men out there who know how to,
Yeah, it's real, man.
I mean, tune in to your. I mean, maybe she's not what you see as your better half right now, but as your girlfriend, as your significant other, as your lover, chime into her feelings.
Some dudes can just be insensitive, man.
Yeah,
and
you said that before.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, even with me, but I mean, there's certain situations, man. But there's certain things.
You is not going like just shun your significant other when she losing, or if it's anybody that you really interested in.
Because at this point in time, when it comes to death is final. Right. I mean, that's a final situation where
ain't no coming back.
You have to be able to understand and be like, yo, it doesn't matter who it is. It could be a stranger.
Right.
When it's death, it's death. Like I'm gonna give you a perfect example.
Okay.
Like a week ago, in my neighborhood, it's a very quiet neighborhood where we live at, very nice, tranquil neighborhood. But there's only one neighbor across the street that I know that knows me, that I talk to. But next door to him, he has another neighbor. And it's kind of crazy. And this neighbor, this other neighbor that lives next door to the neighbor that I know, I don't know the other neighbor, right?
Right.
But there was one morning, and normally when I leave to go out and handle my business and go to work or whatever the case may be. I leave like around 5:30 in the morning. And one morning I seen an ambulance outside. Come to find out, that particular neighbor had a wife. His wife passed away.
Oh, wow.
Okay. He was much older, whatever the case may be. He was much older. And this was about a year ago. Okay. But that neighbor across the street from me, since that his wife died, that neighbor would take care of him. That neighbor would, get his meals,
everything,
find out what's going on with him,
right.
Check on him or whatever. Because the wife told that neighbor, like, listen, please watch over my husband because I know I'm going to be able to pass. Watch over my husband for me. You know what I'm saying? Because don't let nobody take him. Don't put him in no home or nothing like that. Or whatever. But like I said, I don't know this neighbor. That particular neighbor, I don't really know him. I've seen him come in and out of his house, but I don't know him.
Right.
Okay? So one morning, just like 2 weeks ago, this happened actually really 2 weeks ago, being that we're talking about death. And me and the kids, I took the kids, we went to Walmart. They wanted to get some cereal or whatever the case may be. They wanted to go to Walmart.
Their little knickknacks.
Right. So I took them out to Walmart. We went to Walmart together or whatever. And then as we were coming back, I seen the neighbor that I knew was like screaming for like, help, help, help. And he was at this neighbor's house. And where the neighbor has, his grass is manicured to the T.
Right.
Beautiful.
Everything is taken care of. And he has like these hedges, like these bushes around his house.
Love it.
You would have never seen him.
Wow.
Number one, because he has these bushes around his house.
Right.
So when the neighbor was screaming for help, I ran across the street like, what's going on? Come to find out, that particular neighbor, he was an old Jamaican man, okay? He was trying to fix his sprinkler, caught a heart attack.
Oh my gosh.
This was on a Saturday. So he must have been out there since Friday.
No way.
The man was behind the bushes, dead.
Oh my gosh.
All right? Dead.
Since Friday.
And like I said.
It was heartbroken.
Right. I didn't know him. I've seen him, but I've never introduced myself. We never spoke.
Right.
Okay? And when I seen him, it was like, and I seen him passed away like that. He had already expired. It looked, it just came back to me like my father. Like, it was like, man, like, who would have known this man was behind the bushes? He could have been here forever if nobody would have found him. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If
That's some crazy stuff, man.
And mention to that other neighbor.
Right.
Because she knew that he was going to be in that home alone.
Right. And
My God.
and the thing about it is that neighbor, he goes to the flea market. He sells stuff at the flea market, and he was calling the neighbor for a while, trying to find out what's going on with him.
Right.
And come to find out, when he got home, he found him in his front yard,
Jesus.
Wow.
passed away. You understand? And when I walked over there, I seen him. I was like, man, it really like touched me to my heart to have that
Yeah.
empathy. Like, oh my
Yeah.
God, man, this
Yeah,
man had nobody. He lived in his house by himself. Nobody was there to help him. He was just in his front yard. I left, like I said, I went to Walmart.
Right.
At that time, when I went to Walmart in the morning, he was already out there dead.
Right. Jeez.
You understand? But me, I felt like I had the empathy to be like, oh my God, I kind of felt it. Like, man,
Yeah.
it's really terrible.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. Cause like death is,
It's
you,
final, man.
You
It's
gotta
final.
have that empathy, even if you don't know a person and you find out, you be like, oh
It's
man,
final,
I'm so sorry
man.
for your loss.
It's final.
You
It's
can't just
final.
be selfless to be like, oh man, I'm just worried about me right now, man. Please.
Right. It's so hard to describe to children.
Yeah,
just
it's
in
final.
a simple fact that it's so hard for us as
Right.
adults
Right.
Yeah.
to wrap our minds around,
especially when it's
seeing someone again.
Yeah, especially when it's unexpected.
Right.
Like if
Right.
I was with you every day and me and you talking, if you're sick and we know you have an ailment and you're going through a situation and it's a
Right.
Right.
possibility that you might expire and
Right.
something may happen,
Mhm.
but for me to be talking to you, you talking to me,
Mhm.
or I'm talking to you,
Right.
Mhm.
Lady Love, or
Mhm.
Sassy,
Mhm.
and God forbid something happens,
Right.
and they say, "Oh, Sassy's not here, Hefe's not here, Lady Love is gone." Yo, that's traumatizing.
Hell yeah, it's
yo.
very traumatized. Cause
It
like, what
really
the hell
is.
happened? I was
Even
just
as-
with
even
you.
as
I was
us-
just talking to you.
Even as us as adults, that's really traumatizing. So just
Oh, yeah.
imagine for a kid who
Right.
really can't comprehend
Right.
the magnitude of death, knowing that it's final.
Right.
Right.
There's nothing else after that. There's nothing coming back from that.
Right.
There's no up, down, in, out,
Mhm.
around. It's
Mhm.
final.
Right.
Mhm.
You're never ever seeing this person ever again.
Mhm.
That's it.
Right.
That's a
Sounds-
hard situation to explain to a kid. I don't even know how. Even when my mother, like, I had my father pass, my mother pass. It was a hard situation for me to explain to even to this day, I don't even think my kids, like the younger ones, could really
They
understand
'cause
Right.
they
what it
was young.
means to be final.
Mhm.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I
I
mean,
know
they
the
were
close-
still young, but
the
it's
closest-
hard, man.
Yeah, the closest thing that I have as an example for me teaching my son, who's now 7,
Mhm.
turning 8 in November. But the closest thing that I have to teaching him about death was my husband having this crazy little facade about getting him these aquariums. Okay, so we tried. We actually have owned about 3 aquariums, and the problem with these household aquariums,
The fishes die like every second.
yeah. So,
I've been through it.
and we always send him out. We always take him with us. He picks out the fish himself.
Mm-hmm.
He loves them to absolute death. He always says that he wants to grow up and be a scientist. He wants to study, bones of amphibians and all this good stuff and all this lovely stuff. He's so smart. But he wants to do this. But when the fish passed away and we had to get rid of it, because one day we came home and it was time for him to feed the fish or whatever. And he goes and
The
saw
fish was floating to the top.
Actually, it was behind the little black part or whatever that's supposed to
Or
make
the
the
filter?
water clean, right?
Okay.
Behind the filter. I don't know why they go back there to die, but they always
Because
go back there to die.
because they're no longer like alive, so like the filter is just sucking them in.
I guess. I don't know what it is,
Nah,
but
them fish be knowing when it's time to go.
they always go behind the filter to die. Every single one of them. Now this happened about 3 of them. Okay, so we one of them we didn't have time to see it before he did. So in this particular incident, he came home. It was time to feed the fish, what have you. The beautiful black little fish. It's like an angel fish or something like that. I don't know. It was all black.
What you got, a freshwater tank?
Listen,
Yeah.
I didn't do any of this.
That's
My
so-
husband was in charge of all this. He even went to PetSmart and made them sample the water or whatever before we could put the fish inside.
Yeah, that's
of
what you
it.
got to do.
So
they got to run for like
we
a week.
did all of that. I mind you, we done had 3 aquariums, okay?
Oh.
One is still in my garage with no water in it. I'm ready to get rid of it. But anyway, so it's there. He finds it or whatever. He's like, Mom, what happened to it? I'm like, I'm sorry, but we have to, it's no longer living. It's dead or whatever. He's like, dead. I'm like, yeah, it's dead. It's not breathing anymore. It's not living anymore. Come on, let's take it out. So I had him pick it up in a little fishy thing or whatever that you scoop the things out or whatever with. He scooped it up and I had him toss it in the toilet and flush it and say goodbye. Okay, so that was his. As far as in right now, that's his death that he's seen. Now, has death struck him?
No.
Hell no. We want to know why? Because he's like, the next week, Mom, can we go get another fish?
Yeah.
He doesn't understand.
But here's my thing.
Right.
I mean, I think with like things like that, like animals and things, you could replace those. Like you can get another fish.
That's
you can
what
get
I'm
another
saying.
dog.
That's what I'm
but
saying.
for a human,
Right.
for an actual friend or something like that,
Right.
you can't replace that.
Personality, yeah.
Exactly, because that's the same thing. Remember with my dog, Mr. Charlie.
Right.
Remember,
I love
my
Mr.
son.
Charlie.
Yes, and that I think that was my son's first experience with death, because the dog actually died in front of my son.
Right.
Oh my God.
Yes, we watched it, and it was so traumatic, with him dying, and it was just like terrible.
It was a lot.
So that was his first experience with death. But you can always replace a dog. We got a new dog now.
Right.
We
So
got
he's
rude ass
everything's
Marley.
happy. Yeah.
So
Rude ass Marley.
rude ass Marley. Marley is nothing like Charlie.
Oh, man.
Charlie was an amazing dog. The only thing about him is he used to bark. But this dog, listen, you notice I have on different glasses. These are like 2 years old, and thank God I didn't throw these away. He chewed the shit up out of my glasses.
God
Like,
damn.
I'm talking about two
practically new.
pieces to pieces.
Practically
It's like,
new
where the fuck is
glasses.
the rest of the glasses? He
Yeah.
chewed them shits to pieces.
Oh, man.
So yeah, so that was his first. I would say that was like his first experience with with death. You know what I'm saying? With the whole dog, because we cried for like weeks over the dog. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But again,
Did he cry?
oh man,
He
did he
did.
cry? We all cried. Even my sister, who didn't like the shit out of the dog,
See, my
cried.
son- he's only had experiences, like I said, with these fish. So
Mhm.
he never cried. He just wants another one.
Nah,
And
he
it's not-
cried. He cried
it's-
for this dog.
That's why I say death didn't strike him yet. It's not death struck yet. It hasn't resonated. Even though he's seen it,
Right.
even though he flushed
Right.
it, he knows the fish no longer exists.
Mm-hmm.
It's dead and gone.
Right. Right.
But there is no attachment.
Right, because there's no
Right.
attachment to
There's
a
no
fish.
attachment.
There's no way you can get an attachment to a fish.
No
Yeah.
attachment.
Like,
But for a dog, you
So
know,
does death really strike only when you have attachment?
absolutely.
Is that how
Yeah.
we explain it to
Yeah.
our children, or is death inevitable and it doesn't matter if you are attached to
No,
this
it's an
person or
attachment.
thing, no matter what?
because
This
I was
person
talking.
is gonna die and it's gonna leave forever,
Right.
and it doesn't matter if you have an attachment to it. Death is inevitable.
Mhm.
What is the lesson?
But what
What
I
is
was
the
saying,
lesson?
what I was saying with
But-
Hefe earlier, I was saying I believe, yeah, you have to have an attachment, because I was saying, like, I could go in a funeral home and walk around a funeral home and be like, oh, look at all the bodies, and it wouldn't matter to me because I didn't know you. But now I walk over to that casket and I see someone that I know, and it's a total meltdown,
Mhm.
breakdown. That's it.
Mhm.
So yeah, I believe it do have to be some type of attachment there for you to really, for it to hit
What
you.
you say? Henry?
But I think with kids it's different, man, because even with
That's
my
what we talking
like
about.
even
We
with my
talking
yeah,
about how it is for the kids.
I don't think
Right,
kids.
yeah.
I don't really think.
We know how
I don't
it is
think
for us.
it all depends on the age of the kid, and I don't really think kids really comprehend that death is like final. Because
Right.
even with my daughters, I mean, I ask them like they're young, and I'm like, they always up under me. Like when I come home,
Mhm.
and I could be tired or whatever, they up under me. Oh, Daddy, I love you, and they up under
Mhm.
me. And Daddy, you smell so good. They smelling me. I'm like, what would y'all do if I wasn't around? What if I would do when I'm not here?
Yeah.
Oh, we'd be okay. But
Right.
You see, they don't
I'm saying that to
understand.
them. I'm saying that to them in the sense like, what if I'm not here or whatever? And they don't
Right.
really comprehend the fact of me
Yeah.
saying I'm not here. They don't know the fact of the finalness of me not really being there.
Mhm.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just a hard situation, man. It's just so
and
hard.
that's where the age come into factor.
Right.
Like
It's just
I
hard, man.
think from like ages like from baby to like 7, 8 years old, I don't think they're really gonna comprehend.
Yeah, I
it.
mean, babies forget about it. I mean, at the adolescent age of like 5 to like 7, 8, 9.
yeah, they're not gonna really
I don't
care.
really think
but
they
I think like
comprehend
when
of,
they hit like 10 and up,
Right.
I think now they realize, yo,
10. I mean, even further. I mean, like I would say, Cause even with me, I remember when I was a kid and I went to my first funeral. I think I don't remember. I think it probably was like 7 or 8. It was my father's friend, and he passed away. I think they found him dead on the street, something like that. I don't remember. But either way, I remembered what I remembered was he got me a bike.
Wow.
He found the bike on the street or whatever, and he bought the bike home and gave me the bike or whatever. And I really remembered that because my father didn't give me a bike, but he did.
Right.
But and the reason why my father didn't give me a bike because he was afraid that I was gonna get hit on the street or something was gonna happen to me or whatever. So he didn't. He was like, "F that! I'm not gonna get this thing no bike. I'm gonna die."
Right.
But when he got the bike and when my father's friend, he died, I remembered going to the wake and stuff and seeing him, and I didn't really understand it. I was like, okay, yeah, we at the wake and he's dead or whatever, but it wasn't like, oh my God, he's gone. Oh my God, I don't know what to do.
Right.
Because I was a kid. I didn't really know, like, I couldn't really put it together to understand that, this, when you talk about death is final.
Right.
There's no coming back from that.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think kids really comprehend that until they get into, like, I would say more or less in their teens where they can really understand, like, oh my God.
Right.
Death. And not trying to, like, brag or boast from, like, the neighborhood I come from. I mean, I've seen a lot of people die and hear people dying and people getting killed. You hear that they gone tomorrow, you getting shot or whatever the case may be. We came to understand that very early at an early age, like knowing that, you can get killed out here on these streets or whatever the case may be. But nowadays, these kids out here, I don't think it's the same. I don't think kids could really comprehend like I really think it's all on the age. I mean, when you get to a certain age and kids at a certain age, I don't think kids can really understand it. I mean, you could try to explain it to them because I even remember when my mother died, and the second oldest one, well, not the second oldest, well, yeah, the third oldest one, and she was of age, she understood it, but she really still didn't really comprehend that it's final. Death is like, it's final. She never spoke about it and said anything about it. She didn't. I mean, at the funeral, she didn't cry, or whatever the case may be. It wasn't like like everybody else was crying and stuff, bawling and stuff. It was like, all right, whatever, okay.
But here's the thing, like, if I could go back, like, to my son, like, when Charlie passed away, the dog, he will always say, "Oh, I miss Charlie so much. I wish Charlie was here." Even today, he still say like he misses him. So and then when Charlie passed away when he was 9.
Right.
Yeah, he was about 9, and he understood. He understood the fact that the dog wasn't coming back no more, and he missed him. So he would still express the fact that he missed him, and he wished he was there. So I just think that
it resonated with him. That struck in that moment.
But
For him, it would be for 9 years old.
But did it come to a point where he said he missed him? He couldn't function. He didn't know how to act. He didn't know how to.
Oh no, it wasn't that. It wasn't
come out of his room because Charlie's not around anymore.
No, it wasn't that. But he was like a little. Like, he walked around. He was just like, "Oh, I miss Charlie. I wish Charlie was here."
So it was a sign of depression,
right? But it didn't really like affect him in school, or it didn't really affect him in the home.
See, that's what I'm saying.
But he still was down. Like, he would be playing like his video games, or he would just be sitting talking with me, or we'd be watching a movie or something, and he'd just be like, "Mom, I really miss Charlie." It would be like that,
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I know, because with me, I don't know. With me, it I had to have counseling. I was young. I was 15, 16. I knew this man. I knew his wife.
Well, yeah.
I knew his
The
kids.
school gave you counseling?
Yeah,
wow.
Because there was a family in the school.
Anytime that you lose like a teacher
or
or a classmate, they make you take counseling.
Yeah, it was crazy. All I could think about was not seeing this man. His name was everywhere. Everybody knew Coach Brock. Everybody knew this man.
Were you crying and stuff like that?
Oh my God, I was terrible.
You couldn't go to class and couldn't function and stuff?
No, I couldn't. I almost flunked. I almost did not pass that year. This is my junior year, if I'm not mistaken. I almost did not pass. I almost flunked every single last one of the classes because I was so numb to not understand. I didn't understand that he was no longer dead. This is a man that I had sat down and spoke to about the issues that I was going through with my mom. And the reason I guess the reason why I couldn't fathom the fact of him not being there anymore, because me and my mom was going through such a turmoil at that moment. He was the one who had to tell me what was going on with my mom. Mind you, he's the health teacher. Okay, he's a health teacher. So before practice, right after school or whatever, bell rings, everybody, goes up to Coach Brock's classroom. He's about to let all his students out or whatever, or everybody's already gone. So we go there first, and then we go to change or whatever, and then we have practice. So we'll go up there to his room, and we'll sit, talk, converse, and just have a good conversation. And he got a chance to know us, and we got a chance to know him. And so it was just so tragic, because he told me the reason why I wasn't getting along with my mom was because she was going through menopause. And I couldn't understand it.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know she was going through menopause. And he told me that she was going through menopause. I said, yeah, but I don't care. I feel like she needs to understand that I'm going through much more heavier shit than she is right now. I'm in school. I'm stuck with all these tests. I don't know if I'm going to pass this, that, and the third, or whatever, this FCAT nonsense or whatever that I'm going to have to take that's going to do this or whatever. I have a soccer match coming up. I want to win. And then I'm thinking about all of these schools keep coming here every second of the day. My mom's telling me I got to go to college. I got to do this. I got to do that. I got a lot of pressure. All right. It's a lot of freaking pressure. All right. And he was the only person who could really sit me down and talk to me and have these one-on-one conversations with me to really mellow me out and really bring everything into perspective. So me losing that mentor was a lot for me. So after he passed and I was going to school, I was numb. Everything was like a black cloud. Like I was in math, I was in English, I was in government, in economics. I was physically in those classes. I was mentally withdrawn. You guys understand that?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
But that's when death struck. Now, how could I teach that to my son? I need help, because I don't know. And so we need everybody out there in Radio Land, everybody who's listening up to us, especially my great, great, great friends who are listening to us or whatever, to mention and chime in and talk to us. Hit us up on YouTube, all of our social medias. We are on Instagram, raisingkings.com. You know what I mean? You guys could really chime in and conversate with us and tell us how it is, because certain things that we talk about, we're not going to have all of the answers to. This is called Raising Kings. When I was growing up, they always used to say it takes a village to raise a child. Us three, we do not know everything. And I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people out there who can relate. And you guys have stories about how you've taught death to your children, or how to bear death, or how to deal with it, how to cope with it, how to move forward after dealing with death. So I need you guys, we need you guys to chime in and talk to us about different ways and different aspects on how do you talk to your children really about these things, because we know how we experience it as adults, but what's going through a child's mind? How do we really resonate? This person is not going to be here any longer.
Right.
To this child.
That's hard, yo.
So hit us up on Raising Kings Podcast at gmail.com. Raising Kings PC on Twitter, Raising Kings Podcast on Instagram and Facebook.
Yes.
Raising Kings Podcast on SoundCloud, on YouTube, on Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. You can comment under these videos and let us know what you think.
Right. Please do.
It's death is really, really hard, man, because I'm only trying to relate to it as me being a kid at that time and dealing with it. And I really didn't comprehend it. At some point, I didn't really comprehend that, how final it was. You're not going to really see this person anymore. So it's just a hard situation. That's just a hard situation to be able to have a kid understand that and really know what that really means of not seeing that person or having interaction with that person that they know, or whatever the case may be. It's just hard. I don't really have that's a really difficult thing to answer, man. It's just a hard thing. It's just hard.
Yeah, y'all got me drinking heavy on this conversation.
Lord
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, I felt like, because I've been a little bottled up, so I just felt like I wanted to express
and it's
my grief.
and it's crazy, because it's like even what you talking about it, it's just so much things. I mean, this week was like death packed because it was so much things going on this week. I mean, that guy, XXX
XXX Tentacion.
Extension.
Yeah, Tentacion. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just so much. I mean, even that other guy too. I think he was from Chicago. I forget his name, Lupo something or whatever the case may be. Another
It's
rapper.
nice to do from Pittsburgh, but
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't
Oh,
know.
Pittsburgh,
I don't know
Pittsburgh.
nothing really much about
I
that
don't know
guy.
too much about him either, but of course he got killed too.
Yeah,
but,
he got killed too.
But the well-known
the same
dude,
day. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you guys want to catch up on any of that stuff, I know a really great woman by the name of Delicious. And she's very touched by the situation. She was like actually like really crying about it on her
Is that that guy?
Instagram
Is that the dude?
live.
Is that the chick Delicious that was on
Flavor of Love?
Yeah.
She was crying about who?
I mean, she was crying about a lot of the topics that we're talking about tonight, as far as in death and about the separation of children at the border and all of that stuff or whatever, which is also
we're gonna get into
that.
We definitely gonna get into
that.
She still got that big old ass.
Yeah, that big old booty ain't going nowhere, but she looked different though.
I follow her for inspiration.
She looked like a Chinese woman.
Why you say she? Why you follow her?
What are you talking about? Her body is amazing. I want to look just like that.
So you want to have all that surgery and have that big booty like that?
No, I didn't say that. I just said I would love to look just like that.
Why?
What are you talking about? Her body is amazing.
What Hefe is trying to say that you look amazing as you are.
Exactly. You need to fucking. What do you say? I'm lost for words right now because we're talking about death.
Yeah, but that I feel like y'all want to move on from this topic.
No, not move on from it. We can still talk about it.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about it.
Because the thing about it is, it's always good. I mean, it's a rough topic. Mm-hmm. It's heavy. It's something that we have to talk about because it's. I mean. I'm pretty sure.
Hard topics that we have to talk to
it's something hard. I mean,
this is what Raising Kings podcast is about.
Right. It's not an easy topic to touch because us as adults, we could take it in and be able to analyze it and talk about it and bear it. Mm-hmm. But to try to express it to your kids and make your kids understand, because I'm telling you straight up and down, I don't know how to. I'm physically, I don't know how to explain to my kids about death and how to take it.
You think it's something that we have to wait for them to experience themselves and then try to cope them through it?
Nah, I mean...
Or is it something that we can prepare them for like a test?
I don't think so. I don't think it's something you could... I don't think it's something that you
could... This is what I'm saying. Exactly. So you agree with me. You agree that it's something that we have to let death strike them first and then we attack. Then
I really think it's on the kid. I mean, every kid has his own personality.
Right.
Every kid is going to take things the way they're going to take it. And it's up to them to be able to really calculate it and be able to take it into their mind and be able to go with it. You know what I'm saying?
But the thing is,
I don't think every kid is going to be able to say, oh, that's death. Okay.
Right.
And start boo-hoo crying.
Yeah.
Because average kid who's not really understanding how final that is gonna be like, okay, fuck death. All right, okay, the person died. All right, let's go play
Fortnite.
Fortnite. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Because the thing is, like, it has to impact them like directly. It can't just be, oh, let's have a death conversation. Right. They have to really go through like having a loss in order to really understand.
I think it's like if it's. I think it's like for, a kid like I was saying earlier, like if God forbid, if my daughter's, I wouldn't come home or whatever, something tragic would happen. God forbid. I don't want to, because the tongue is very strong, yo.
Oh yeah.
You talk stuff with your tongue, and you can talk stuff into existence. So I'm not trying to do that, but if something like that were to happen to me, the way I know how my kids are with me, I'm pretty sure they would feel it, knowing that I'm not coming home or whatever the case may be. I mean, my youngest one, I could be gone for just a day, and she's like, "Oh, where's my daddy?" And she's, frantic. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So knowing that something would happen to me permanently, I think that would be traumatizing for them.
Yeah.
So what have you set in motion for just in case? Because death is inevitable.
Man, ain't no just in case. I'm gonna tell you straight up. Those type of things I don't talk about because I really truly believe your tongue is very strong, I don't speak those things into existence. Mm-hmm. And me personally, I know when I speak stuff into existence and I say this is what it's gonna be, I promise you it's gonna be that.
Yeah.
So
get you.
I don't talk about stuff that is I'm not gonna say not relevant, but I'm not gonna speak negative
Yeah, you're
stuff
not gonna
into
speak that
existence.
into existence.
I'm
But
gonna try to keep my stuff as positive as
Right.
possible,
Right.
and not speak negativity
Upon
into them.
yourself.
Exactly.
Right,
I'm
right.
not doing that. Period.
Yeah,
I mean, it
man.
makes sense. Oh, I got to bring up one point, though, because last point about my coach Brock, rest in peace, love him to death. Okay. But in these talks that we used to have in his classroom before we went downstairs to change and before we began practice or whatever, he always told us that his father passed away at a younger age, and his only true wish to God, which was what he prayed each and every single day, and what he expressed to his wife and what he expressed to his children as a means to getting them prepared for his death, just in case it happened, because it was something that was hereditary almost in his mind. You know, it was hereditary because his father had passed at an early age with him, and all he wanted was his father to be there at to teach him, to guide him on what to do, how to pick a wife, all these things or whatever. But his father was gone too soon,
So
that was his prayer, that was his wish. But he told us that if he had one wish, he always prayed and wished to God that he could see his sons and his children grow up, and live these lives and have these kids and marry, and be there for when they call and needed help. That never happened. He passed, and his eldest was just going off to college, and he had a young one that had just barely finished elementary school.
Wow.
So you telling me that he was always thinking about, if he passed, he wanted to be able to. He was always thinking if he passed. I'm not thinking about that, yo.
He was thinking about
Yeah.
a contingency
I'm not thinking about nothing,
plan.
man. Ain't
He
no
was thinking
contingency
about
plan.
a contingency plan because he didn't want the same thing. How distraught he felt with his father passing.
Yo.
For his children to feel the same way. So what do? Now, mind you, this is a white Jew. You hear me? Okay?
Man.
White Jew. Okay? He was thinking about how could he explain death if it was to happen to him, to his children, so that they can cope and they can move on and they can live better lives and not be like him, living with the thought of, man, I wish my father was here. If I could just pick up the phone and call my father, if I could just ask him this one thing, if he could just be right here in this moment, man, if I could just call my dad right now, he would know what to do.
Right.
Yo.
What is it? How can we? This is coming from a man. How can we? He was thinking about it and he didn't figure it out before he died. How can we living, we're amongst the living. How can we amongst the living teach our children about death that is inevitable? How can they cope with this? How can they cope with us not being there? What do we do to give them the tools? What kind of tools do we give them to face death?
It's hard, man. I'm gonna be very honest with you. I'm gonna be completely and totally, completely honest with you. I don't have an answer for that. The reason why I don't have an answer for it is because when I talk to my kids, even though I know as an adult, I know we got a starting date and we got an end date. Whether we know when that end date will be, we don't really know.
Right.
But I'm not going to sit and speak to my kids and have them regurgitate and have them instill in them, talking to them about death and things like that. Because
I don't think about it like that. You know why I'm gonna fight you on this? Because I feel like it's a preparatory. I think that we was over this a little bit last week and I think I go over it often when I talk about me and my son, just because of the simple fact that I want him to be prepared, like the Lion King. Be prepared.
But I don't see
like
how you could be
King,
prepared for that.
Yes,
I don't see how you can be prepared.
Can.
How?
Say it with me, folks.
Go ahead.
Yes, you can.
Right.
Yes, you can be ready for death. Yes, you can. Yes, you can prep these children to be willing and ready to face death when it happens to a loved one, so that they can regroup and get on with their lives, and they can understand the difference between the person that has died and no longer living and them who are full of life, and they don't have to end their lives because somebody who they love so much, you know what I mean, has passed away. We need to instill in them that they are still alive, well, and breathing, and they have their own path, and they have their own initiatives, they have their own goals, they have their own aspirations. They can still become whoever they want to become. Do not stop wanting or needing or having these goals for themselves just because somebody like mama, papa, nana, grandpa, whatever, passed away. No, we need to instill in them that life still goes on. Time keeps moving. The earth still keeps going. The sun will rise tomorrow.
I agree though, because I mean,
we need to empower these kids. When we speak about death, all I'm saying is my approach to my son, and I feel like anybody who's out there in radio land who's listening, I feel like the approach and the answer to this question is to empower and really, really, really get them to understand, as far as in, like, I don't know, like getting them to understand in the way that your child would understand, because each child is different, each parent is different, how you teach your child is different, but get them to understand in a way in which that they will understand or will comprehend, whether it be anonymously, or like what's those things, like light is the sun, as an analogy. Mm-hmm. There we go. Explain it to them in an analogy. Death is an analogy, or something like that. If you have a child that's like that. But I think that we need to resonate it to these children in the stages which they're in upon listening to this podcast. After you've listened to this podcast, I feel like you guys need to go and sit down and like talk to your kids about death. Yes, it's nothing to run away from, because you can run as far as you want to run, sweetheart, but death is inevitable. So why not prepare them now for something that's going to happen later? It's just like you preparing them to drive, or you teaching them how to drive, or you preparing them for college, or you setting up a college fund for them for college. You're prepping them. I believe we as parents have to prep our children. We have to prep them for what is to come forward, what's to come later.
Well, I'm going to say this. This is what I'm going to say. And I'm going to say this as me growing up, from adolescence, from a kid growing up. I wasn't prepared for my mother to die. As much as I was an adult.
Did she prep you? No. Did she prep you?
Of course. Of course I prep. No, what I'm saying is of course she prepped me, but who is ever really prepared? You? Who is ever really prepared for that?
I'm not saying to be prepared. I said to be prepped.
How? Okay. Prep. How are you going to prep a person? How are you going to prep me?
Talking about it. Sitting down, having these conversations. That's just like when we were young, or I want to say when my mom was younger, because when my mom was younger, my grandma actually went through segregation, actually went through having a...
You was prepped for when your grandma passed away. You was prepped?
I'm making a point. Are you listening?
I'm listening to you.
Okay, so I'm making a point. All right, where was I? So my mom didn't have to go through this, but my grandma went through this. She had to go through the whole separation and all that, black and white fountains, black and white bathrooms, and all this segregation or whatever. My grandma had to prep my mom because she had to prep her for what society was coming, what she had to grow up into. Mm-hmm. You feel me? Like right. It's not something that you can be prepared for, because no matter how much no matter how much my grandmother told her, when you go and you sit on the bus, you gotta go to the back. Don't matter what, until she actually physically has to get on the bus with her mom or with my grandma or whatever, until she is actually in that situation, then it will resonate. But prep her. Get her into the visualization first.
But then again, that's the thing about speaking it into existence, isn't it?
I don't think so.
But then again, you know what? What I was gonna say, I was like, I feel like it should be, because I think there's just a stigma on death. Like we don't want to talk about death, but it's inevitable. It's
Yeah, I mean,
inevitable. So I feel like, I mean, we should have these conversations.
I'm not disagreeing with the fact of it's understandable, it's something that's in the genes, man. It's gonna happen regardless.
Right.
Like I said, we know our starting time. We may not know our end date, but we know it's gonna come. There's no question about it. But I'm just saying, when it comes to the kids, I mean,
tell them it's going to come.
Yeah, it's gonna come, but
you need to tell them.
Are they really gonna be able to fathom and understand that, this shit is really fucking final, yo?
No,
that it's gonna really be over. You're never ever gonna see whoever X, Y, and Z ever again. I don't really, cause I'm just.
You're not gonna get it.
I'm just being realistic and taking it as my viewpoint.
I get it.
And I'm not saying everybody's gonna have the same viewpoint as me.
But I agree.
But I was a kid. I was a kid at one point, and I've dealt with death. I've seen death in front of me, and I've seen it happen and things like that. But at one point in time, I didn't really realize it wasn't like, okay, this person just died. It wasn't that big for me. I just moved on until it was something that really affected me, close to me. And then I still was like, oh, okay, this is what it is as I got older. But as a kid,
listen, I got stories, y'all. Y'all know I'm a storyteller. I have stories. The thing why I feel like you should prep your daughters especially, because we are women, we are very emotional creatures. Okay? We are very emotional. We are. And I wish somebody would have prepped me before then. But I feel like my family felt like, oh, okay, well, she's been through, we've taken her to funerals. We don't understand why she's going through this or whatever right now. Like, she's been through numerous funerals. Yes, but it never resonated to me. Like, it was never somebody who I could relate to. It was never somebody who I spent time with really, really, really. And I knew them, and it wasn't recent, and it wasn't abrupt. Okay? The most important thing is it wasn't abrupt.
So at what age did you really feel like it wasn't abrupt, that you really felt like, okay, boom, this is really serious? Like,
I already told you when I was in college, not in college, when I was in high school.
You was in high school?
Yeah, when I was in high school.
So you was
my
a teen.
Coach passed away. I was a teenager.
So like what, 15, 16?
Yeah, exactly the age. 15, 16.
So prior to that,
I had been to numerous funerals, family-wise, but with people who I didn't know.
That you didn't know. So how did you take it then? What was it like?
I didn't. I told you I was there for the food.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. So prior to that,
nobody taught me. Nobody prepped me. They thought by me going was prep.
So you think
they thought by
so
me,
you say
by me being there, buying me a black dress, trying it on, and putting on black stockings and black shoes and a whole black wear, and us going in a limo or what have you, or following, make sure you put your lights on or what have you, that was prepping me.
Right, you were just following. So basically, you were just following protocol, and it wasn't no big deal to you.
The adults run a show. I'm just along for the ride.
That's and you know what? The same thing that you went through, I went through the same thing. I mean, it wasn't like
it was like whatever. The cycle, and we have to make it better. Each generation needs to become better and better and more aware, and even more so aware.
I think these kids, but me personally, I think these kids is way different from how we came, because things come at these kids so fast and so quick, and the way technology is.
We should slow it down.
Who?
You think we should slow it down?
I think the cat's already out the bag. I don't think there's any room to slow anything down.
Okay, so
kids are gonna take it. Kids are gonna take it how they're gonna take it. I don't think it's gonna.
I have to disagree, because I'm going to go with the old school factor, which is, don't let nobody else teach your child. No. It's a lot of stuff out there that's already out there, but you know your child, and you need to teach your child firsthand, first corner, about sex. You need to teach your child firsthand, first quarter, about death, about life, about reproduction, about what's going on. Like, before they get it from anybody else, it needs to come from us as parents.
Let me ask you
first.
Let me ask you this question. All right.
Sassy, why are you quiet?
What? Let me ask you this question.
I'm just listening to y'all debate.
So if they're gonna take that from us, right? We're gonna teach them about sex, and we're gonna teach them about this, and we're gonna teach them about that, which is true. I agree with you 120%.
Right.
But when you was at that age and
Mhm.
you was at that stage or whatever the case may be,
Mhm.
who really taught you about sex? How did you really find out about
I'll
what
tell
sex
you.
was and
By
you
getting
humping?
the dick
So-
And
stuck
hold
in
on,
me.
wait,
I'm so happy you
wait,
asked
no,
me
no,
this question.
wait a minute,
That
wait a minute.
dick going
About
inside.
you humping and then guys squeezing on you
I'm
and feeling
very
on you.
happy
Who
that you asked me
who
this
taught you
question.
that?
My mama.
Wait
My
a minute.
mom ain't teach me
Wait a
none
minute.
of that.
So you telling me? So at what age your mom taught you that?
As soon as I got out my period, when I was 12 years
Oh, nah.
old.
Okay. Wow. Damn.
Yeah, my mom ain't tell me none of that.
As soon as I got my period.
So
when
wait
I
a
was
minute.
12 years
So
old.
when you was 12 years old and you got your period, your mom told you what? What did she tell
sat
you?
me down, actually. In
So
her
you didn't.
room.
You so you was green. You didn't know nothing else before that. You didn't know nothing else about nothing. You didn't know nothing else about the birds and the bees. Nothing.
No, it's impossible. You wanna know why? Because I'm a knee baby. So I have
A
two
what?
older sisters. I'm a knee baby.
You a
so
who?
I have two older sisters, a knee baby, the middle child.
Okay. Okay.
I have two older sisters, one older brother. I'm in the middle, and I also have two younger sisters.
Right.
So I'm smack dab in the middle. I
Right.
actually share the middle space with my brother who passed away, which I
Right.
spoke about last week.
Right.
But I'm just saying. So I have two older sisters, two younger sisters, and me and my brother shared the knee baby space. So me
Right.
and my brother were the most loved kids of all time.
Okay.
Between my mom.
So prior to that, you didn't have no other experience.
This is what I'm trying to tell you. It's
Go ahead.
impossible because I had older siblings. We all lived underneath one roof. Me watching them growing up because they were older, they were going through things that I was not going through.
Right.
I saw things that they were going through.
Right.
Yes, I saw my sisters in sexual situations.
Oh.
Okay, I saw my brother in certain situations sexually, and I saw how my mom treated both of them. I saw how my mom treated my sisters when they were caught in their sexual situations, and I saw my mom and how she treated my brother when he was caught in his sexual situation, which because he was the only child, he got a slap on the back and was like, "We'll close your door." And my sisters were basically called whores and bitches and sluts, and
so
nothing.
you was experienced then, so you knew what time it was.
Yeah, I mean, I already knew what it was because I watched them and I saw how my mom treated them.
So you had some guidance because you seen what they were going through and you seen them were going through some sexual situations.
Hey.
Okay.
I can't help where I fall in.
Well,
in a
I'm just
line,
saying. Well,
okay?
we got
My
to call it.
Just so happened to push me out fourth.
Okay,
so I saw all the mistakes that my older siblings made.
Okay.
And I decided not to make them. And I decided how I was going to feel about the decisions that they made and if I was going to make them for myself.
Okay, so this is what I'm trying to say to you. Understand what I'm trying to say to you.
I do understand.
You wasn't really a virgin to what the situation was before your mother came and told you about the birds and the bees when you had your first situation. I mean your first
situation on what?
Well, when you said your mother showed you when you first had your
She sat
womanhood.
down and talked to me about sex.
When your womanhood. But you knew about it beforehand.
Okay,
yes or no?
Yeah, I know. Listen, how I know about it beforehand because of my older siblings, number one, but also because sex education was in school, bro. Sorry.
All right, it was in school, but that's what I'm. This is what I'm saying.
I was already learning about it in school.
No, but this is what I'm trying to. This is the only thing I'm trying to say to you.
People in school, do we leave that to our older siblings? Do we
No.
leave that to society to teach our children? Fuck no. This is what I'm trying to tell you.
Okay.
We as parents, number one, needs to be the number one factor in our children's lives to teach them which way to go. Yes, there are other outside influences. Yes, there are. But you know your child. You know what's going to resonate with them. You know what's going to make them listen. You know what's going to make them like open their ears and open their brains and open their eyes. You know, because that's your baby.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you on that. All I'm just trying to say to you is I'm not disagreeing with you on that. Oh yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you on that. All I'm just trying to say is that you had some other infiltrations in your path of understanding.
I can't close my eyes. I didn't have a choice.
All right, but that's my point. I'm just trying to say.
My point is my mom didn't leave it to them. She knew that I had those outside influences.
No, but
she knew that they had sex education at school.
No.
She knew that my two older siblings was having sex. She knew that my all three older siblings was having sex. Did she want me to know that? No, she did not. But it was out of her hands because she had to work 2 jobs.
But you knew about that before your mother told you, didn't you?
And the only time that she brought it to my attention was because and when I had become of age when I had my menstrual.
Right.
At 12 years old.
But you still knew about the birds and the bees, but prior to your mother telling you.
Right.
Okay.
We can't leave it to them.
I know we can't. I understand what I understand that. I understand what you're saying. All I'm saying to you is that before your mother introduced you and was explaining to you about the birds and the bees, you knew about it beforehand. That's all I'm saying. That's it. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yes, I get it. And I agree with that part. I agree.
Okay, wait. Don't go no further. Okay. Just stay where you at.
All right.
Don't go no further. Okay. All I'm trying to say is that as us as adolescents and as kids, we tend to pick up things outside of the realm of our parents. And we see things literally, critically in front of us that's going on right in front of us before our parents introduce us to it. Right. So I'm just trying to say, we're not green to it. When our parents come and say, oh, guess what? Let me teach you about the birds and the bees. We might be able to teach them a thing or two. That's all I'm saying.
I agree, because when my mom set me down, I was just like, lady, I already know how to use a pad. Well, I already know how to put on a pad.
That's my...
And everything there you
else,
go. Like,
then you didn't answer my question. Okay. You didn't answer my question right there.
But we're still talking about why are you avoiding the conversation with your girls about prepping them?
I'm not avoiding it.
Prepping them.
I'm not avoiding it.
Because it's like as if you're living in an existence or whatever. You're speaking it into existence. No. I feel like it's already amongst them. It's already around them. They probably know more than you let on. But until you have that conversation with them, you won't understand
know
how fully
how much they know.
Exactly. You don't know what they know.
All right, hold on for a second. All right. Hold on right there for a second. All right, hold on for a second.
Rewind.
So you saying that, so what you just said is that as me as a parent, they may not know what I think they may know because they already know already. Right. And that's my whole point is what I'm telling you.
Until you bring it up.
So when your mother was telling you, about the birds and the bees, you said, "Oh, Mom, I already knew about that already. I know exactly where to put it. I know where to bend over."
I've always been a lady. I knew to keep my mouth shut because as soon as I would have opened it and told her I knew X, Y, and Z.
So do you think? Exactly. So do you think by me telling my daughters?
How in the French did I know any of this?
Well, do you think by me telling my daughters they're gonna say, "Oh, Dad, I know all about that"? Oh, I know exactly what to do.
That's not the point. That's not the point.
Why
That's
not?
not the point. That's
Why
not
not?
the point. That's not the point. That's not the point. That's not the point.
Why not?
My mom told me, even knowing that I already knew something about it, because she already was smart enough to know that I had older siblings. She already knew that she was never in a house. She already knew that she had 2 jobs. She already knew that it was practically my older siblings who were raising me. She already knew.
Okay. All right. I agree. Listen, you see, what you're saying right there, that's your scenario, and that's what you went through. But everybody may not go through exactly what you went through, and which is understandable, because what you're saying basically is that your mother wasn't there, and your mother already knew that you already had an inclination of what was going on because you had your other siblings. Like you said, you was the middle child, and you knew your other sisters was going through situations, and you might have been exposed to situations before your mother even touched you, and she understood that. But what I'm saying to you is this, which I'm not disagreeing with you, and I could agree with you on several points of what you're saying. But what I'm saying is that with kids, you just never know. And what I'm saying is these kids nowadays is way more advanced.
So do you feel like you don't have to tell them?
No,
just because they way more advanced?
Not at all. I'm not saying that at all. All I'm saying is
so
that.
When are you going to bring up the conversation with your kids, Hefe?
Well, I mean, man, it's
when are you gonna talk to your kids about death, Hefe?
Well, I'm not gonna say it's gonna be hard.
Okay, so change the wording.
Okay, but the thing is, okay, I'm gonna tell you. The thing is, there's no me in particular. I don't think there's no particular time to talk to the kids about death. You understand? I don't think there's no particular time because death can strike us at any time. Right. Like Sassy said,
and like me,
we don't know when it may strike, and when we may be confronted with trying to tell our kids to try to make them have some type of understanding of pertaining to what death is.
All I want us to do is prep them. Have an understanding of death. Prep.
All right. Listen, I'm not going to disagree with you on that. I'm just saying.
I just want you to prep the girls.
No, listen, I'm not.
You know how much they love you. You know how devastating that's going to be. Prep them.
Absolutely. But like you said, but listen to me.
Bro.
But listen to me. But like you said, you do know what your kids are capable of, and you
Right.
do know what they're going to be able to accept and what they're going to be able to take in.
And you know that your youngest will be devastated. So
Absolutely.
prep her.
But I think regardless
Prep
though,
her.
even with prep, they'll still be
Yeah,
devastated.
no,
really
that's
think-
inevitable.
I don't even
I
really
never
think
knocked that out.
that's what I'm trying to say. That's
It's
what I'm.
inevitable.
That we see what you just saying is really my lowest common denominator.
Mhm.
You just never know. I could tell you, I could give you every tool in the book when it comes to that death
Yes.
in this situation and try to prep you.
Yes.
But when it really hits you, how are you
Yeah,
really
you
going to
don't wanna hear all
react
that
to
shit.
it?
You know where I'm at right now with that whole situation? It's just the simple fact that I recall my mom taking the
Telling
time
to
out.
tell me that, you know.
All right.
I
Okay.
recall my mom taking the time out
Okay. All right.
to tell me for herself
Okay.
what sexual education was.
No, we talking about death.
I know.
We're not talking about sex.
I know, but
Okay.
we were talking about sex when we were talking about the whole,
That's a whole nother
my
si-
family situation.
But see, but that's a whole nother situation.
But
We
it's
ta-
all
we
tied
talk-
in because
How?
sex and death are two of the most popular things that parents don't want to talk to their children
Nah,
about.
man, because you ain't gotta have
But,
sex if
okay,
you don't want to have
so-
sex. But if death comes
They don't
towards
know
your
that.
way,
They don't know that.
Well,
if
I-
a man
well-
pins their ass up against a corner in an alley, they don't know that they can fight. They don't know if they have a decision to do this or that or the other unless somebody tells them to.
Okay, so let's go back to death. So you said your peoples talk to you about death, right?
who?
Your family.
No.
No? Did your mother actually sit you down and talk to you about death?
No,
See?
she didn't.
But
Because
see,
mine
but that's what I'm
did.
trying to tell you. It's two different things.
Yeah.
So if I'm talking to you about sex,
Because I feel like I could sit down and talk
if
to you
I'm
about
telling you
sex.
about sex and about the birds and the bees, that ain't got nothing to do with death.
Okay, well, this is where it ties all in together.
How?
Let me. Okay, I'm so
I'm
happy you
listening.
said how.
Go ahead.
I'm about to break it down for you,
I'm
baby.
listening. Give it to me. Give it
Okay,
on,
this
though.
is what I was trying to tell you when I was describing the whole generational curse nonsense about how my grandmother had to go through the whole separation, the segregation nonsense or whatever, and my mom didn't have to deal with that. There are certain things in each and every generation that a parent does not want to talk to their child about. For me, it really was about death. Like for you, it probably was about death. For my mom, it was about sex. My mom had 6 kids. All I believe because my grandmother could not talk to her or sit her down because my grandmother's generation did not speak about sex. They did not talk. Our grandmother's generation, all 3 of us, our grandmother's generation did not speak about sex. Sex was eluded. Sex was not to be talked about. Sex was bad. Okay? But sex was going on. Okay? They did not have sexual education. They didn't have any of that. So what I'm trying to do is with each generation, we have to stop something and we have to bring a parent something that's more aware. And I feel for our generation, speaking about death or whatever, is death. Let me tell you why. Tell you right now. My grandmother's situation, okay, when she was brought up, they did not talk about sex. Okay. Prime example, my mom had 6 kids. Okay.
Your
Now,
grandmother.
Right. My grandmother didn't talk about sex to my mom. So
Okay.
now she has 6 kids. And now my mom is very frequently open about talking about sex because she spoke to me about sex upon when I was 12. She wanted me to understand.
What'd she tell you?
She wanted me to listen
All right.
to the whole concept.
Okay,
She
go
had to
ahead.
prep me because she knew that she didn't have any prepping. I just want everybody out there in Radio Land to really hear me right now. Okay, I'm going to back it up one more time. Okay, one more time. These generational curses is a motherfucker, okay?
I agree.
My grandmother didn't talk to my mom about sex, therefore she had 6 kids. Because sex was looked at as being bad, as being something that you do not talk about. However, it was widespread. It's what people did. That's when they had the most fucking kids, okay? All right, this is my grandmother not talking to my mom about kids, and therefore she had kids. My mom, knowing that my grandmother didn't talk to her about having kids, therefore she had 6 kids, wants to bestow upon each and every one of her 6 kids. Don't fucking have kids without a fucking know what the fuck you going through. Know that you need to strap the fuck up. You know, this was the conversation that my mom had with me. She made sure that I was prepped and fucking ready at 12 years old. As soon as she seen a red fucking spot, she was ready to sit me the fuck down and be like, listen, you know you can have kids right now. So if you don't want to have kids right now, you better tighten the fuck up. This is what my mom said because she knew she had to end that curse. She knew she had to stop that shit. So now me, with my son, I need to talk to him about death. Not only because XXX extension and everything else that's going on in the world or whatever, but simply because death is not spoken upon as much as it needs to be spoken upon. You need to be freaking careful. If you are an artist and you have songs and you have a fan base and you're out there, you need protection and you need to heed these warnings. Somebody need to prep these children, these new up and coming artists that yes, baby, yes, you can be
But this
touched.
little dude know
You
death
can be
was
touched.
around.
Exactly, but a lot of them don't. A lot of them don't. A lot of them do not know that they can be touched. A lot of them feel like they are untouchable. A lot of them, you can't tell me a lot of these young artists do not feel like they are untouchable. That's why so frequently and so often their faces show up on the news. They're dead. They're caught, whatever. They're in a club and they got shot up. Why? Because they had some beef over this and that and the third. They was in Foot Locker and they wanted to order a shoe and the other man wanted to order a shoe and oh my God, now they can't get the shoe because the other guy got the shoe. Now it's beef. OMG. BS or just simple stupid stuff. I feel like if we prep this new generation on how important death is and how final it is, don't just raise your gun. How about talking about it? How about squabbing it out? How about fighting it and fighting with each other, hands on or whatever, having a normal fight and then getting over it or not fighting? Hi, how about that? How about talking about it? How about being adults? How about let's talk about it? Let's talk about it. Let's agree to disagree. And you stay in North Miami and I'll go to Broward. That's it. It's enough people in each city for us to have enough clientele. It's enough money out here for everybody to eat. Death is permanent. If I kill you, bruh, that's it. How can we prep these kids to know the importance of death? Because this generation, our kids' generation, this generation that's growing up, this X generation, whatever it is, they do not fear death. They don't understand death. They don't know what it is. They don't understand that it's final, and they feel that they can just clap, clap, bang, bang,
they don't have,
and that's it.
They don't fear anything.
They don't understand, and we need to talk to them about it. We need to prep them. That's all I'm saying. We need to talk to them about this.
Yo, that nigga with that XX extension dude, his manager should shoot himself.
Hold on. We're gonna get into all that. So we're gonna get into all that.
Whoever his manager is or whoever was giving him guidance.
We're gonna get into it. I'm gonna just close out this
hang
segment.
himself.
Let me just close out this segment here.
Go find himself a job at Wendy's. Because it's over.
God.
Listen.
Fucking asshole.
We don't have the answers when it comes to death.
No, that answer is a very simple answer.
Wait.
If he had a manager, he should shoot himself.
We're closing out. Then we're going to go into Q&A with Hefe.
Right.
Well, nah, that's a whole no.
Yeah, no, well, that's
situation.
That's still the same thing. Yeah. I don't know. It's just terrible. You know what I'm saying? And we always be the Black Lives Matter always fighting against police brutality. But what about our own black on black crime? He was in his own backyard. You know what I'm saying? His own stomping grounds where he from, and these niggas killed him.
Prep.
Yo.
His manager shouldn't have, especially he was on house arrest and then he finally got let off house arrest. Like he shouldn't have been like rolling around by his stuff like that, especially with a large amount of money like that.
As a manager, you managing an artist who's well known, who has a following over what 1 million people or whatever the case may be. He shouldn't have been going anywhere by himself. Period.
Exactly, especially
because at that particular point in time, he is the commodity. Mm-hmm. He is what's giving you the lifestyle that you're leading. Mm-hmm. You understand? He's paying your bills. He's supporting you, your family, and whatever else you have to be being supported. If you're managing an artist and you can't speak to that artist and tell him the truth,
exactly,
and that artist could understand what you're telling him and take heed to what you're saying, you don't need to be managing that artist. Because as you being a manager for that artist, it already takes a whole bunch out of you anyway. Because you're not just a manager. you're a babysitter. You're the father. You're the mother. You're everything. You understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
So with that being said, you should be able to tell this dude, oh, that or her, listen, sit your ass down. You don't need no damn motorcycle, and you don't need whatever else you're trying to do. And if you do want to get a motorcycle, whatever you want to do, take this to security with you.
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't be going nowhere with you. You shouldn't be going nowhere by yourself.
Right.
Exactly.
You're not a regular dude no more. You can't just walk out in the street and just be whoever the f you want to be before you was this artist. This is the life you chose. You want to be an artist. You want to be making beats. You want to be singing songs and being on the stage and entertaining 100,000 people. Go sit your ass down now, because now you're an artist. Now you're a commodity, and you're supporting about 1,000. Whoever's in your camp, whoever's in your entourage, you're supporting everybody now. So now go sit your ass down, because this is what you asked for. Okay, this is what you're gonna do. You can't go off by yourself.
Right.
And that's what I mean. As a manager, that's what you should be doing. So whoever his manager was, he should go shoot himself. Go sit himself down somewhere, shoot himself. Go find himself a job in Walmart or McDonald's or Wendy's or whatever, because he's a jerk off. Because that kid,
he shouldn't have been,
it's unfortunate and it's terrible for a 20-year-old to lose his life the way he lost his life.
Prep these kids on death.
Yeah, but now you see, okay.
You cannot take a life. Like,
perfect example. Listen to me.
Freaking people that
listen to me.
Life.
I'm listening to you, and I'm gonna take heed to what you're saying. But nowadays, with these kids coming up in this generation, these kids are gonna do what.
Why you think that is?
I'm gonna tell you straight up. I'm gonna tell you straight up.
Us as parents saying we don't want to teach our kids, and we don't want to.
I'm gonna give you
hurt our kids like how our parents hurt us with whippings. And all of this
I'm gonna give you the raw hard dog facts.
Tell me.
My son, okay? And I was having this conversation. We're gonna talk about it here. My son a few weeks ago told me, "Hey, guess what? Not guess what? Listen." And like I said, my son has a father, and I don't want to deprive him of being with his father or whatever. Because, like I said, I was raised with my father. I didn't know any other man in my household but my father.
Right.
Okay? But he confides in me. He talks to me. He tells me stuff. He tells me, guess what? I started smoking weed. Nobody knows about it, but I'm going to tell you about it because I know you would talk to me and you would tell me. I gave him the whole schmeal. I told him, I said, listen, man. It's not a good thing for you to do personally to me. I mean, I know you kids are going to do what y'all want to do anyway, regardless whether you're doing it in front of me or you're doing it behind me, you're going to still do it. But I'm going to tell you, I don't really think it's a good thing for you to do. It could be very addictive. It could probably lead into something else. I'm not saying that's what you want to do, but I don't think it's a good habit for you to start because it's something that you're going to keep doing or whatever the case may be. But, I mean, you're going to do it anyway. So at least I know you're doing it and maybe I can give you some guidance or whatever the case may be. But these kids are going to do what they want to do. These kids nowadays, they're going to do what they want to do. I don't give a damn what you tell them. I don't care if Jesus came down and told them, listen, nigga, don't do this. They're going to do it. Whether you're going to chastise them and put the full court press on them, they are going to do it.
Right.
Okay? They're going to do it. I remember when I was raised up, when I would do something, the first thing I would think about my mother, she going to find out, I'm going to be in trouble, she going to tear my ass out. These kids are not with that shit. These kids will take the ass whipping, they will take the kick in the ass, and they'll go right back and do the same goddamn thing and don't give two fucks about what you done told them 2 seconds ago or what kind of hands you put on them. They wouldn't really care. Okay? So, with these kids nowadays, all I could do is supervise, try to talk, try to, give them my opinion and tell them. You see what I'm saying? Okay. That's all I could say. I mean, what else you want me to tell you?
Prep them.
Prep them? Shit. These kids ain't taking no prep,
That's a
man.
part of prep.
They got their own.
Tell me everything you just said. Repeat it.
Right. I would give them that, but it's not going to change nothing.
It doesn't matter. God,
so even if I'm prepping him.
Can I have anybody out there in Radio Land agree with me, because it doesn't matter if they. Of course they're gonna rebel. That's what kids do. I was a friggin' rebellion. I feel like I still am. Doesn't matter.
But don't you want to see results in your prepping? I mean, listen, I agree with you. Listen to me. Listen to me.
Maybe
Love,
when
Miss
you're
Love,
in heaven.
Love.
You can't even
I
think
agree
about
with
that.
you. Listen to me. Don't get me wrong for a second. I am not disagreeing with you saying. And I do believe in what you're saying, and you're talking about prep. All I'm just saying is these kids nowadays, this new generation of kid, okay, they coming with a whole different situation. Okay, you can prep them. You can tell them what you think it is. You could tell them, listen, this is not a good thing. But these kids are going to do what they want to do, and they don't really give a F about really what you think, but they're going to do it, and they want to experience it on their own. The only thing I'm saying is you could try to supervise, you could try to guide the best way you can, but they're going to do that shit.
I agree, because guess what? I agree with you, because it's two sides to each and every coin.
Okay.
I understand that. Maybe you will talk to them, and maybe you'll talk to them till they're blue in the face, and maybe you will not feel that it has resonated with them until they have gone through the situation by themselves or what have you. All I'm saying is, in the midst of them going through that situation by themselves, guess whose voice they're going to hear? Whose voice do you want them to hear?
I'm not disagreeing with you.
Whose voice you want them to hear?
I would want them to hear my voice. I would want them to hear my voice.
Tramp, that whore on the side, like, girl, spread them legs, girl, money talk, bullshit walk.
Yo, listen to me. Like I said, I'm gonna say it one more
time
again.
Make the money. Don't let the money make you.
Listen to me. Listen to me. I'm not gonna listen to me and don't listen to me. I'm gonna agree with you 121%. I'm gonna agree with you. I'm not disagreeing with you on that. But at the same time, you know what I'm saying? Especially a situation like that. You trying to block them from going into the strip club? Oh my God.
Listen, let me tell you something. I just feel like these kids need to be prepped. And I don't care if they get it when. But
how are you going to stop them? How are you going to stop them from doing
stopping. It? You misunderstand.
Yeah, what you're saying is it's not about stopping them. It's just basically like putting the bug in their air.
Exactly.
So in the moment, even if they do rebel and be disobedient to what you told them, at least they're gonna have in the back of their head.
Some friends, but you already told your daughter don't be no fucking follower. You told them, you raised them up not to be followers.
So what if she still go up into the strip club? Then what? What I'm gonna do?
Okay. You're gonna rely on what you told her.
Okay.
And she's still gonna make the same
that
decisions
money. That money is they dropping that money like it's hot in the club, baby.
Then you already know who she is.
My God.
And guess what? You're gonna accept her for whomever she decides to be. You're gonna accept her for whomever she decides to be. Because guess
in
what?
The strip club,
if she decided
she on that damn pole
to not listen to you. And go after what she sees, then that's her decision, because at that point it is her life. But she will always remember that her whatever the fuck happens back to her, her daddy already told her.
What's that prep for?
Listen, I already told
I've seen niggas.
Don't go down this road.
I seen this nigga in front of. I don't want to give him a shout out, but I seen fathers in the front of these strip clubs trying to get their daughter up out that club. And they couldn't call the police. They didn't call the police on them.
No. See, this is the problem. This is what all I'm saying is tell them. All I'm saying is what the Bible says, which is train the child on the way that they should grow up, and then they'll go back to the ways that they were supposed to do, because they will venture off and they will, do whatever it is that they're going to do.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. But prep them. Let's prep the babies on death. Let's prep the babies on sexual education. Let's prep them on every freaking thing that we know is going to come before them. Because why? Don't we always say, if I knew what I knew now when I was X and Y years old, would I have done something different? But nobody planted that seed in them to have the option to do otherwise. So yeah, they didn't.
I just think death is just a very touchy subject that it's just hard. I mean, yes, we need to prep. We do need to
death, religion.
We need to definitely put a bug in our loved ones' ears about it. But it's a very touchy subject.
I think death is a whole nother animal. Everything else I could agree with you on. Mm-hmm. I mean, as far as sex and all that other stuff, I could agree with you 120%. But death is a whole nother animal. That's just my personal opinion.
All I can say is cherish your loved ones while you have them here. Give them the roses while they can still smell them.
Right.
That's right.
Tell them every day you love them.
Support them.
Forget about the little
Right.
small, minor, little bullshit
Don't wait
issues.
until you got to put the R.I.P. when they're gone, and
Yeah.
that's when you talk about, oh, I loved him so much. He was this and that.
But this is what I was talking about last
You know.
week.
Just
and
put a bug.
Every what's the name before, I was like, I have to tell my son, I have to give him the tools. I don't feel like I can rest in peace if I do not give my son the tools needed. He may not need them right now. Yeah.
I'm with you.
I understand.
Yo.
He may not need them right now, but
I'm with you.
when I'm gone, if it be tomorrow, at least I have covered A, B, C, D, A through
Listen,
whatever.
I'm with you.
You know what I mean?
I'm,
Because
like I
he's
said,
not
I
reaching
can't.
that point right then.
Like I said, I cannot. I could honestly and truly say, well, what you saying, I cannot really disagree with you, yo. I cannot, because at the end of the day, you absolutely do want to give your child every fighting chance that you can, and you want to be able to be there. And even if they taking it, if they not taking it, you want to be there to do that. Like I said, I could completely and totally I could completely and totally agree with you, but on some other aspects of it, I may have a little bit of gray area in there.
It's all good.
But I mean, I can't. When it's time to give your kids every tool and every opportunity to be able to take heed to what you're saying, because of course you do have the experience. I agree with you, but I just think what they call it, this kid, the Generation X or whatever the case may be. These kids are coming out right now, man, and they just have another aspect. They got this fast, quick technology.
It's gonna be the same with each and every
every generation is gonna be like that. All we could do,
that means prep them. That
all we could do,
all
we could do is just as parents, what we feel as parents, we
find what they like.
Yeah, we instill that in our kids, like how we feel is the best parenting method, and then we just go from there.
I can't, like I said, man. I mean, I could fight you on a few little sticky little points, but I can't disagree with you on in trying to give our kids and giving our kids every opportunity and every tool in trying to overcome these obstacles that in this thing that we call life. You know what I'm saying?
So again, so we could close out because we at an hour and 30 minutes. So I keep trying to wrap y'all up.
But you know what? The thing about it is, even though you might be trying to wrap, but when you come to this situation, that's why it's such a touchy situation when you come to death. And we talking about death and things like that. It's a real, it's a deep conversation. We could probably go another hour and 2 hours on this thing because there's no ending to it. There's no ending to it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. But like I was saying, like cherish your loved ones, spend as much time as y'all can spend with each other.
Right.
And just
man.
It'll all come
together.
The little things. Forget the little things.
Because remember, we was all adolescents and we were all kids at one point. We all had to go through it, and look where we at now. So our kids are gonna have to do the same thing. They're gonna have to go through it. They're gonna have to understand it. They're gonna have their bumps and bruises, and they're gonna have to go through it too.
I gotta disagree. I understand that they're gonna go through that. I understand that they're gonna go through that.
Okay.
I just feel like knowing that, knowing what they gotta go through. Prep them, tell them, hey, this is what's gonna happen. This might happen. This may just happen simply because it happened to me, or I've seen it happen to a couple other people. This X, Y, and Z may happen. Take heed to my warning.
Okay.
I'm not telling you need to do this because that's what my mom would have told me. No, you need to go about this way, that way, and third. No, I'm not saying it to my child. I'm not raising my child like that. I'm raising him with everything. Here are all the cards. Here are all the decks. Here are all the faces. Here are all the pieces. Here are all the moves. You pick one.
All right.
But I'm telling you, if you do this gonna happen. If you do this, that's gonna happen. If you do this, that's gonna happen. You can try me all you want, and it may happen differently. That's okay. It's okay. But at least I told you this gonna happen, and this might happen. You know what I mean? I don't want him to be a square. I'm not a square. I need him to understand that this and that may happen. please make an informed decision. You need to know where you come from to know where you going. Like, I just want to prep him. I just want to make sure that he don't have to go down no alleys that he don't need to go down. Listen, bruh. Hey, don't take that road because it's going to lead you right here in the penitentiary. Your life going to be locked up. It's going to be, that's it. Don't do that. Don't go that way. Be smart. Control your anger right now. Control your anger. Let me help you. Let's do boxing. Let's do this. Let's meditate. Let's find a way for you to let me help you find a way to the conclusion before you have to find it yourself. I'm here to prep you. I'm here to help you in any way that I can before I leave this earth. I'm sorry, but that's me. I'm sorry. That's me.
Well, R.I.P. to XXX Tentacion. R.I.P. to all of the people who we've lost. R.I.P. to my aunt's husband, David.
Yeah.
And, you know,
R.I.P.
just R.I.P. to everyone who's up out of here, you know?
Yeah.
I know there was another rapper that passed away, but I don't know who he is.
Sorry.
So, R.I.P. to you, too.
R.I.P. to him, too.
All right. So, we're going to move on.
All right.
Okay.
And now we're into the Hefe segment.
All right.
Can we get that going, Lady Love?
Let's go.
Oh, God.
Now we are introducing you guys, all the people out there in Radio Land, to Q&A with Hefe.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, bam, 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 bam. Come on, Sassy. Let the man ride.
Absolutely. You know.
Wait, let me back it up a little bit. Q&A with
Absolutely, ladies. We have
Let's
another
go,
one.
Hefe. Let's go.
You know, I mean, like I said, man, it's just a conversation. It's just a conversation. We got on a heavy subject, and we was on it for some time, because it's a subject that just could go on and on and on.
Raising King
There's
podcast.
there's no real good answer. There's no real wrong answer. But, you know, we're just talking about it, having a conversation, man. I hope the last segment that we could really touch people and for people to be able to regurgitate it and talk to their family and be able to
based upon
help,
the points that we brought up.
Right, and help other people.
It don't matter which way you go. You can take Hefe's route. You can take my route. You can take Sassy's route. It doesn't matter which route you take. Right. The whole point is for us to open these avenues for you to be able to speak. For you to be able to speak with your children. Right.
I mean, at the end of the day, that's really what it is, man. I mean, and that's why I say I can't really disagree with you, because when you're trying to give your kids the tools and trying to educate them and put them on the right track, I can't really say your route is the wrong route.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, you still trying to provide content and information for your kid to succeed on his own.
When I'm not here.
Absolutely.
That's the thing. That's the whole clue. Everything that you're saying, when I'm not here, because I know it's inevitable. It's inevitable. No way. I am going to die.
So there's no way on God's green earth I can disagree with you on that.
I'm not going to be here forever, baby, and I need you to know this.
No way.
I need you to know this.
Absolutely.
And I need to be able to teach you everything possible
before
I go. And I don't know when that day is going to come. It could be right now. God forbid, knock on wood, whatever. But the thing is, at least he will be able to recall all of the moments. And maybe he won't be so sad. Maybe he will feel empowered. Maybe he'll feel like I gave him all the tools that he needed. And maybe he feel like it can be a better passing. Maybe he can let me go.
Yes.
Maybe he can let me go.
Absolutely.
Because if he don't let me go, guess where the fuck I'm going to be at?
Oh, my God.
Right next to him.
Unbelievable.
And he ain't going to be able to touch me, feel me, smell me, nothing. But all he going to be able to do is yearn for me. Yearn. Yearn for me to be there to talk to him. Yearn for me to help him through this situation.
But you don't think that
I could have talked to him about when I was living.
But you don't think that in general, like even no matter how much you've talked to a person,
so what you trying to say?
You don't think that when you die, they still wouldn't yearn?
110%. However, it would be less things for him to yearn for.
So you basically gonna say you trying to haunt his ass?
No, I don't want to haunt him. I want him to be able to let me the fuck go. I want him to let me go.
But if he can't let you go, baby?
This is the problem.
Okay.
We need to teach them to let us go. Death is death. They're gone. They're not here. Like I try to tell my mom, my sister, my cousin, my aunt, my uncle, everybody who visits my brothers, my late brother's passing, his burial site, and they cry and they roll all over and they post pictures and all this extraness, like crying, and then they have a chance to snap a picture of them crying laid across my brother's grave. Listen, bro. Hey, newsflash, he's no longer there. Newsflash, nobody had to tell me, but I wish they would have told you that he's no longer there. He's gone. Let him go. You've had your peace. Speak your peace. Don't keep him here. He's in a better place. You need to believe that. You need to come into some type of conscientious decision that you're living. Your life is still living. You're still on the table. God is still watching you. He's with God now, or she's with God now. Let them go. Let them enjoy whatever they're going to be enjoying, or whatever they're not going to be enjoying for the rest of freaking eternity. Okay? That's all I'm saying.
Yo, I can't disagree with that.
That's all I'm saying.
I can't.
Let me go. When I die, I want my baby to be able to let me go.
I can't disagree with that.
That's all I'm saying. Don't be looking for me. Don't be looking for mama, because mama is gone. Don't be looking for papa, because papa is gone.
Okay.
Now you have to live. I've given you everything that I can give you. Now you live. Do me justice by living.
Okay.
And taking heed to what I've taught you. Don't shame me. Hey, don't freaking shame me. I taught you everything.
We can't disagree with that. I can at least.
So all right,
So,
y'all. We gonna
I
end
wanted
it
to
then.
touch-
That's it. We'll talk
No.
based on something else.
Wait. I quickly wanted to talk about the
What?
the shit that's going on with the kids and immigration and stuff.
Oh man, that's terrible, man.
That was
Yeah.
supposed to be on the first part.
That should have been.
I mean,
well, no, it
that
was
about, we was talking about death and stuff.
Yeah.
So
Well, we could.
Oh, you talking about Donald Trump and at the border, man? But
yeah,
that's a hard situation to talk about, man. For real,
about them
'cause-
being snatched away from their parents and all of that.
But
Stuff,
what I
and
could
about
tell-
this kid that died.
or the little dude from Bronx.
Yeah,
They
died.
got like
Well,
slaughtered.
Cardi B spoke about it.
Yeah, what the fuck he
Actually,
did? Like I said, what he did?
listen, Cardi B says and you're from New York. She says
Yeah.
that somebody passes away or somebody gets shot in the middle of the road or whatever. They call the police. It takes you on the phone with these rude ass operators or whatever, and it takes the police officers mad long to pick up a call or to actually come to your neighborhood, especially if it's in a bad neighborhood like the Bronx or Brooklyn or Harlem or whatever. Like, that's what happens up there. It's just now that we're seeing it because of social media. This shit been happening.
Well, like
People
I said,
from New York know that this has been happening. They've been brutalized by beat cops. They've been brutalized by them.
listen. My question is, what that boy done did? For you to get stabbed up by them niggas that what I seen, you getting stuck up and getting stabbed, that's something very personal. It's
That's
very
true.
personal. It's not something that's just going to happen randomly.
Right.
You had to have done something. You know what I'm saying?
Or it's not gang initiation.
Whatever you may call it. I don't know if
But
it's
how
gang
you kill
initiation.
somebody for gang initiation?
That's what it is. That's what they do.
Ain't you supposed to pass?
Well,
ain't you supposed
No,
to
not
I don't
him.
know. I don't
The
know if
people
it's
who
gang
killed them
initiation.
is like normally what they send them out to go
Well,
kill people and do things like
I
that.
get it. I'm thinking about it all.
I don't know if it's gang
Sorry.
initiation or whatever it is. It's unfortunate that young man at 15 years old had to lose his life or whatever the case may be. But in New York, it's a lot of fuckery going on. And you just don't know what the fuck is going on sometimes when certain situations happen. I've been to many funerals in New York City.
Yeah.
The mother, the parents crying. Oh my God, they done took my boy.
Right.
This and
He was
that.
such a stand-up
But you don't know what
citizen.
kind of fuck shit that nigga been doing on the goddamn street when he's out there on the street doing some bullshit.
Right. While you at
just
work.
don't know. So with that being said, it's unfortunate, and I don't hate to see anybody get into some situation and have their life taken from them or whatever. But I gotta ask the question, especially in New York City, what that boy was doing, what
you
he
think,
was into.
Sassy? What you think? What you think?
What about that situation?
Man, I'm telling you
It's
what
just
it is.
tragic. You know what I'm
It
saying?
is tragic.
It's a very tragic
It is
situation. I don't
tragic.
know because I do understand both sides. Like Hefe, like what this kid was really doing. Although on the news, you know, they were saying he was a good kid, but people always say
Man,
that when their loved one die.
Of
yo,
You know what I'm
course.
saying? And
everybody
then
was good.
again, it could
Everybody
be,
course.
good when you dead.
yeah,
Of course.
Everybody, oh, he was a good child. Oh,
Right. All they can think about is
he
the
was a Bible study
positive.
nigga. Man, yo, I've been to many a funeral. They in there crying. I mean, tears pouring. Oh my God, the nigga dead. That motherfucker was all up and down the boulevard robbing everything that fucking didn't move,
Yeah.
stealing everything that wasn't tied down to the ground, doing all
Mhm.
kind of dumb shit. And then here he come, he done got shot up, killed, or whatever the case may be. Now you crying for him. But like I said, listen, if it was my child, I'ma cry for him too.
Mhm.
Right. What you
Bless
think?
you.
Bless you.
Excuse me. I'ma cry for him too. But at the same time, you live by the sword, you die by the sword.
Yeah.
So
I don't think it's much to talk about with this.
you
Yeah.
just
I mean,
I just
because
want, you know, just
it's up
it's
in the
current
air.
events.
don't
So
know.
It's up
You
in
just
the air.
don't know.
You don't know.
And you talking about New York City, baby.
Yeah. You don't know.
The
You just
firebird,
don't
the
know.
city that don't sleep. You just don't know what that boy was into or whatever he was doing. And I'm telling
Let's
you,
see what they can find out. Let's leave it
well,
up to the
we'll
police
see.
officers.
Sometimes
see
you
if they
ain't.
find out.
Sometimes you're not going to know. You ain't gonna
Right.
find out nothing. All you
That's
know, he got
true.
stabbed up, and that was it. And you don't know nothing. You
But our
understand?
condolences do go out to the family.
Oh yeah,
We are
definitely.
not empathetic. We are empathetic. We are very
yeah.
sympathetic.
You gotta have
towards
empathy. You gotta have
the,
empathy.
The family. We
Gotta have
really
empathy.
do,
But you gotta have empathy up until a point. We don't know what that nigga was into.
Please do.
Because especially, I'm telling you, especially getting stabbed up,
Mhm.
that's something very personal.
Yeah.
That's when you gotta stick a knife inside somebody and
Yeah.
look at their eyes while you putting that cold blade inside of them
Yeah.
and doing that to somebody. That's serious.
But like you said, this new generation is crazy. Like they
don't
don't give a
know.
goddamn.
That's why
Don't
we need
know.
to teach them about death and how severe it is and the consequences that it has on families and family members. That person that they killed, that person that they stabbed, they could have had children.
I think
They have a mother, they have a father that have to mourn for them now, have to find out and figure out ways to bury them because they wasn't ever thinking about burying their child before them. They was always thinking, normally as far as in, oh, my child would bury me before they have to, what I mean? It's just the whole situation. Just the whole situation is terrible. It's just, you have to have remorse. You have to have some type of empathy towards the family,
Definitely.
regardless
you
of
got
what
to anybody
person did.
anybody who loses their life, you have to have some sort of empathy, man. But when you have that empathy too, you have to also look. I'm just saying,
At what
from
happened to
from
cause
my
it.
point of view,
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
From my point of view,
What caused it?
my experience,
What path you was on?
what path he was on, what he was into,
Yeah.
what he was doing, for these dudes to pick him out
Right.
of 6-7 million people in New York City
Mhm.
to come and stab him up and
Right.
kill him, stick a knife in his throat and his neck and all that stuff.
Right.
What he was into.
Well,
It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate
Mhm.
because he's a 15-year-old
Mhm.
who had his whole life in front of
ahead.
him.
Yeah.
You understand? But we got to ask the question. And me being a straight New Yorker, born and raised, niggas out here in the street in New York City, they be with that fuckery. And you don't know what the hell they was into or what the hell they was doing for that situation to happen to
Behind
them.
the scenes, right?
Point blank, plain and simple.
Right. But our prayers do go out to the family. We do, understand that death is a major, major issue, and we do feel remorse, and we're very, very sorry that
Nobody
want to
lose their kid. Nobody want to lose their kid.
Very
Nobody
sorry
want.
that you have to go through this in this time. Is very abrupt. Death is abrupt. But like I say, that's why I feel like it should have been tied in with the first one, or something that would have been bought in right after it, because I feel like this new generation, like how we keep saying, they don't know how precious life is. They don't understand how precious life is, and they don't understand if you kill somebody, the ripple effect that it's gonna have on that family. You know what I mean? And everybody around it who witnessed it. You know what I mean? If it was a tragic death, all the people that was out there that saw the whole thing with XXX extension or whatever, saw him and recorded it instead of calling 911 right away. It's just it's a lot of disconnect, and I really feel like they need to be reconnected with life and what it means and how precious it is and how it's a privilege to even be here, and take every day as if it's your last. But if we as parents aren't teaching them that, and they're learning from the streets, which is death comes every single day, or like Hefe says, it's something that he saw very, very frequently growing up. Hey, it's a dead body on 12th or something like that, or whatever. Oh, what's that smell? Oh, it's somebody got shot or something like that at the corner store right there on 5th and whatever. Things like that happen. If he, but don't leave it to them. Don't leave it the chance for the street to teach your child. Yeah. Don't do that, because that's how things get so crazy.
I remember when I was a kid, there was a park we used to play at. It was 48 Park. It was right next to 40 Projects. And we used to play at this park all the time, and this park had a swimming pool, right? But, as we got, as the city got to be New York City, some of the pools in New York City, they stopped servicing the pools. So they stopped cleaning the pools and having the pools in the project, the pools, because there wasn't enough lifeguards and stuff like that. That particular pool that we used to play at, we would be right there in the park playing by this pool or whatever the case may be, playing basketball, whatever we was playing. There were like 2 dead bodies, 2 heads that was inside this pool. That somebody got killed in the pool. That they killed these people and threw their heads in the pool. But we never knew that. Yeah. But we were always playing around this pool. But I'm just trying to say, with New York City, this is the type of things that like go on that you may not even know about, but you in the cipher in the circumference of other things going on, and you're clueless. You don't even know what's going on as kids.
Right.
We don't know what's going on. But it was all over the news that these 2 heads were found in this park, and we playing in this park every single day. This was our playground, and this is the type of stuff that we were around. But this is just a little inclination of us being kids and adolescents, and things that we have to go through and things that we have to see. Who, as kids, at 11 years old, 12 years old, 15 years old, who wants to see 2 heads of human beings inside a pool that you were playing at in the circumference of where your kids are playing or whatever case it be?
Well, I want to play a little bit of devil advocate then, because you being brought up like that, seeing that, being amongst that, being brought up like that, do you feel like New York has changed?
No, it hasn't changed.
Okay, so why the French don't you teach your daughters that this is what's waiting on them outside these precious walls that you have built for them, outside this paradise that you built for them, outside of this lovely haven that you built for them? Why aren't you preparing them for the massacres that's happening outside of this palace?
Well, because you know the reason why is
you want them to stay princess and naive.
You don't want them to stay like that
until they grow older. Don't do that.
No, you don't. I don't want them to stay like that though. I don't want them to stay like that.
So tell them.
You want them to have. I want
kids as long as they can be kids.
I want them to be able to cherish the time they have. Like, you know what I remember too.
Advocate.
You know what I remember too. I remember when my father used to tell me, enjoy your childhood, man. Don't worry about making money, paying bills, because them times are gonna come, and when they come, you ain't gonna have no choice but to have to deal with them. Cherish your childhood.
I got that.
Cherish being a kid and doing those things. You know what I'm saying? That's all. I mean, maybe it might be a hindrance. Maybe I might be on the wrong route. I'm gonna teach them all. I'm gonna teach them everything else that I got and tell them things. But they're not in that environment. They're not in the environment.
So what if they want to go to a museum? And on their way to the museum as a school field trip, they freaking see outside of their school
bus somebody
get gunned down.
They're not in Manhattan though.
Doesn't matter where they are. Deaths occur anywhere.
It does. But I'm saying, if they go into if they're in New York, they go into the museum in New York. That kind of stuff can happen anywhere. No place is safe. Don't get me wrong. Anything can happen anywhere. You understand? I completely and totally agree with you on that.
Mhm.
But I mean, I'm not gonna say out here in Florida because look at this. Look at what happened to this dude XXX dude. Well, look what happened to him.
Mhm.
He was in Deerfield. He thought it was sweet. Some niggas rolled up on
Exactly.
him and murked
Exactly.
him. You understand what I'm saying? So you ain't safe really nowhere. I'm not
At
trying to
all.
say that at all.
I'm
But at the
saying.
same time, I mean, man, I'm trying to let these kids breathe a little bit, man. I'm gonna give it to them how they need to get it, but they're not in New York City. They're not living in that lifestyle. They don't have a clue about that lifestyle.
Exactly. That's why you need to
I'm gonna
give
give
them
it to
the
them.
clue.
Trust me, I'm gonna give it to them. I'm gonna tell them what it is. I'm gonna show them the
But
traps.
what if when you do it, it's too late?
Well, hey.
What
listen,
if it's aftermath? What is after?
that's
What if
my
it's
bad.
after?
That's something that I might have to deal with. But I'm gonna give them. I'm gonna
Ay,
give them
Dios
every tool. I'm gonna give them
mío.
every tool that I can give them, and everything that I can provide to them. I'm gonna give it to them. You understand?
I get it, but you're gonna give it to him after the fact. Me
No.
on my hand, I'm giving it to him before he even see that shit. So he can be like, "What?"
So,
My son is always looking at me like, "What?" Like he doesn't understand what it is that I'm telling him, and that's okay, and that's cool because guess what? I know one day he may or may not see this, and guess what? If he doesn't see this, he'll be able to better help a friend or whomever has dealt with it how to cope with it. He'll be that person, that shoulder that they can lean on. He'll be the new, lighthouse. He'll be that savior. He will be the person that your daughter lies her shoulder on.
listen, man, I can't
Fucking
disagree
soul
with
man.
you.
And my son would be like, come on over here, rest your shoulder, rest your head on my shoulder.
Listen,
come here, you could
if I
cry on
fail-
my shoulder.
If I fail
It's
at my
all
job,
good.
then that's something that I have to reevaluate.
I'm just
and
saying,
tell
I'm
me,
raising a man, so
Hey.
he needs to be a man.
Hey.
You feel me? He needs to be
hey.
a man.
You right.
He
You're
needs to
absolutely
be
right.
A man.
You're absolutely right. I'm not disagreeing with you
But
on
if
that.
I had a female, if I had a girl, if I give birth to a female, she gonna be well equipped.
All right.
Well equipped. As equipped as I'm equipped in
So
my
they
son.
gave you all the tools. You got all the tools.
They didn't. That's why I'm stopping that cycle. This is what I'm telling you.
okay.
I'm stopping that cycle.
Just
They
checking.
did not give me all of those tools.
checking.
That's why I'm stopping that cycle.
Just
and
checking.
I will give my son and my daughter and anybody who I give birth to,
Just
I'm going to
checking.
give them these tools. I'm going to give it to them, regardless
checking.
if they need it or if they in this point right now or not. I'm going to give it to them when I feel like they're ready for it. And
All
it's
right.
not going to be afterwards. It's going to be way well before it.
All right. Hey, listen. I'm not gonna disagree with you on that.
If
And you
God
see-
can help me.
Notice how we done moved off this subject. We'll be back on it because it's a very serious subject, man.
Yeah,
It's a subject that's really,
Yeah.
really serious.
But
Yeah.
And it's a
we
it's a
probably
subject.
gonna have to touch base on this again on
Oh,
another
oh,
episode,
absolutely,
because
because-
we almost at 3 hours, bro.
Yo.
OMG.
It's too long. That's
Hey, listen
We-
to us.
we
Take
way
us on your
over.
road trips. It's summertime.
we way
listen
over the mark.
to us. Press play. Go on YouTube. Press play for your road trips.
But
You
you
know
know
what I mean?
what?
Listen to us
What
on
we,
the road.
what we have to do with us going this long and having this conversation, we got to put it to the people that to be the judge, man. Do they want it to be this long?
It could be a
Are
part
they
one and part
appreciating-
two.
Are they appreciating the content?
Yeah.
Are they appreciating the conversation?
We can split
Is
it
it
up.
really helping them?
Right. It
You
could be a
understand?
part one and a part two.
If not, we'll make this thing 30 minutes and keep it pushing. I got shit to do.
Right. Listen, but we're here for you guys, and we want to explode this content to you guys because I feel like we're energized about talking about it. So we know you have to be energized by listening to it. I mean, I get energized by listening to the previous, once we upload this episode or whatever, I can listen to us all day, but we do want it to be something that's relatable. We do want you guys to be in tune for the duration. Doesn't matter if it's an hour, 30 minutes, 2 hours, 2 hours and 30 minutes, 3 hours. We want you guys to be in tune. We want you guys to be very relevant and very in tune with what we're talking about because it is for you guys and it's for us too.
Yes. So, R.I.P. to all the loved ones that we lost, friends, foes. Just
Right.
speak to your
Sassy
kids.
was down this episode.
Speak to your
she was
kids.
down.
Speak
Yeah.
to your kids.
We kept it pushing. Sassy, I want to tell you, I'm going to give you my
We
condolences
love
to your
you.
family.
Yeah, it's
I want to
just
tell you.
Me and Hefe, we business as usual, but we understand that you are going
Yes.
through a tough
yeah, because it's
time
it's
right
not just
now.
one death I'm dealing with. It's like 5. So,
Right.
it's a lot at one time. So
Right.
I want to get, like I said again, I want to give you my condolences.
I appreciate
say,
it. I thank you.
You know, I want to give you all the apologies that I can,
Right.
And tell the fam that, you know, again, my condolences.
Yes.
And it's an unfortunate situation.
Right.
And sometimes we just have to just stick together, to be together, to get forward, and get through the next endeavor in life.
Right.
Push
That's all we can really do.
Remember,
You know
give your loved ones the flowers while they can still smell it, while they still here, man.
Absolutely.
Man. Yeah.
Remember, you could check us out on Raising Kings Podcast on YouTube, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, on Raising Kings Podcast at gmail.com, Raising Kings Podcast, Facebook, Instagram, and whatever else. I can't remember.
Well, we love you. Thank you guys for tuning in.
And this is the checkout. My name is Sassy.
And it's your girl, Lady Love.
Yeah, this is Hefe, man. What's up?
And we up out of here.
Good night.
We love y'all. R.I.P. David. We miss you. We love you.